Jai Prabhuji. Welcome everyone. My name is Swami Yogananda and we are continuing with a series of lectures of commentaries on lectures given by Prabhuji. And this time we are going to speak about a lecture that is called Waiting with Open Doors. Now in this lecture, I would say rather than a lecture, it's more of a talk that Prabhuji had with people where he was asked a question about his path and what helped him to regain the experience he had when he was 8 years old. Now, to whomever doesn't know or didn't get a chance to hear Prabhuji speaking about his experience when he was a child, when he was 8 years old, I'm going to give a quick overview here, just a few words, just so we are all on the same page. So when Prabhuji was 8 years old, he had a profound mystical experience of enlightenment. And I'm referring to it as a mystical experience because it had a beginning and it had an end. And that experience made Prabhuji to go and search for 30 years until he regained that state of enlightenment or experience his true nature one more time, and that state is constant and increasing and developing, and everyone that comes in contact with Prabhuji very much feel it, whether they know to give it a name or not. But so Prabhuji was being asked in this talk a question that said, what do you think from all that you experienced and all that you practiced actually helped you to regain back the experience of enlightenment? So let's listen to the start of Prabhuji's answer and we'll refer to it after that.
The problem is that your question comes from already assumptions that you take as facts. Your question is wrong, the place from the assumptions from where your question comes. You come from the assumption that what I did helps me in some way or other. To what? It's like something of what I did was the solution to a problem. So it's totally wrong, the assumptions in what you base your question. You understand what I mean? Mm. Check your question, your answers.
So here we have a very important point, a great guidance for the spiritual seeker in this path that we go in. And the part that we're going to concentrate on is the sentence, question your answers. What does Prabhuji means when he says that? Why do we need to check or question our answers? We may think that, isn't that what I'm coming to an enlightened master for, to a guru? To ask a question, get an answer, and then I will know? He will give me the answers, the guidance, the answers. And if we pay attention, it's something that we are very used to from school, from college or university. I come to the teacher, I ask questions, he gives me answers, and then I know. So let's go a little deeper into these instructions. Question your answers. What Prabhuji is indicating here is that we have a hidden or maybe not so hidden answers we already gave ourselves, that carry within them the already made up opinions we have or ideas we have about spiritual path, spiritual life, the search, where we are in the search, what does it mean, this search, and many more preconceived ideas we carry and bring with us. We look at the world around us, we look at ourselves, whether it is in the spiritual or religious life, or whether it is just in the regular life that society is considered non-religion or non-spiritual. The common everyday life that most people live. And we see that we evaluate and many times judge the level of seriousness one is dedicating to his or her craft, life choices. And again, as we said, it doesn't have to be the spiritual life or the religious life. We see this dual platform of subject and object. We see this material world and this linear line that everyone and everything is running on. Good versus bad, investment versus profit. And straight away, the mechanism that was installed in us since childhood kicks in. Our own program that was installed in us from the moment we entered this world. The be good, get a reward, or in order to succeed, you need to work hard. Working hard equals results or profit. If you work hard and be a good boy and a good girl, you will be able to attain what you desire, whatever it may be. A house, a car, a vacation, a family, a profession, or even just not being alone, and so forth. And that will make us happy. All those things, that will make us happy. And the things that we were told is that we need to do or be or have all what society or the family or the education system taught us that we need to be or to do in order to be happy. But in most cases, people end up finding themselves sooner or later not really managing this life or this world, but being managed by this life. And most people run after pleasure and escape suffering. And everyone constantly running on this linear line, running after happiness, running away from discomfort. So we have inside us this mechanism and preconceived ideas of how to get things that in this way I will be happy. And not only that, we all have different ideas of what it is to be happy. But we were told or educated that if we will do certain things, that will be the result. And as I said, we are still running on this. Most people find themselves running on this linear line of running away from discomfort and running after pleasure. And suddenly we come in contact with an enlightened master like Prabhuji, and we see that he made it. So with the way our mind was educated, we think, okay, he must have done A, B, and C, which gave him the result of enlightenment. And if that is the case, he must have the answer of how. How to. The famous how to make it. And if you look around you, and you will see these days the endless videos and lectures on YouTube and all kinds of social media platforms of how to be successful, how to be happy, how to have an exciting life, how to let go, and thousands of more. And we, as we said earlier, we come to this path and we bring all that into the spiritual path. And as Prabhuji indicated, the questions we ask come from all those answers and ideas we have already. And what we spoke of until now may be obvious to some people. And some may think, what's the point? Why is it so important? So one aspect of it, of course, and this may be the more obvious one out of it, is the importance of understanding or seeing myself enough to be able to evaluate what are the answers and conclusions I have in me. The answers I gave myself so far that precede such a question, or any question for that matter. And if I want to be able to ask the right question that will be in the right direction, what are my preconceived ideas and position on these kind of things? But the deeper aspect of it is, and here we are turning to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34, that says, Tadvidhi pranipatena paripakshnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnanina statva darshina. And the meaning of this verse is, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So the point we will concentrate in this verse are the words, inquire from him submissively. Why is it so important that the inquiry or the questions that we'll ask will be done in a submissive way, in a submissive attitude or state? What does it mean to be submissive in the spiritual path? Is it the bowing down? Is it the prostration? Is it all the external manifestation that can be seen with gurus and their disciple, or at least the way it is in the East, less in the West? But is that it? Is that what submissiveness is? That may be part of it. It is the external manifestation of the love and respect there is between a master and disciples in this very intrigued and deep relationship of the master and the disciple. But is that it? And I can tell you from being a disciple of Prabhuji for over 20 years is that these external gestures have no real meaning if the real submissiveness doesn't happen. And when I say real, I mean the internal one. Anyone can bow down his or her head down, touch the feet of the master. And not that it is not important. It is an important stage in the process. Indeed, it does. But it's only the very, very first steps. But not everyone can let go of their opinions, conclusions, ambitions, the way they see themselves, the way they want others to see them. That is where the real submissiveness happens. It's to accept that all that I know or think that I know comes from my conditioning, my past, all of society within me. And all that doesn't allow me even to see those things, let alone to be able to recognize my true nature. The way I was built up, all the external notions I have about myself that comes out of the way I was raised and educated, my past, all these things we mentioned earlier in this talk and in previous talks. To be able to give up all the ambition one has when coming into this path, the achievements we want to have in the path, even the achievement of enlightenment, all that and more needs to be given up. We must let go of it. And on top of all of that, we need to fully trust that the Guru, the enlightened masters, see what I don't, and therefore can direct me in the right direction to the fulfillment of my true self. To let go of all that I know and all that I think that I know, and accept and understand that I don't know. I don't know. Only then real knowledge can actually be imparted on the disciple. The disciple needs to become like a blank piece of paper in the hand of the artist. And if we still think to ourselves, well, why should I give up all that I know? I'm an intelligent person. I study. I know things. I know that the things that I know are right or correct. Why is it so important that I will give away all my conclusions and ideas? I lived somewhat, or maybe a lot, and my experiences taught me many things. All those are very valuable. Why should I give it all up? And there's a very beautiful story in the Zen Buddhism, in the Zen Buddhist tradition, about a university professor that went to visit a well-known and well-respected Zen master to learn about Zen. And the master invited the professor to sit with him and have a cup of tea. And the professor sat down with the master and started talking about Zen, while the master very quietly prepared the tea, the whole ceremony, and poured the tea. And when the tea was filling up the cup, all the way to the brim, and then it just kept on going over and flowing over and pouring out of the cup. And he didn't stop, he kept on pouring. And the professor kept on watching him, pouring the tea into the cup, and he couldn't hold himself any longer, and he said, "It's full, no more will go in." And the Zen master looked at him and said, "Like this cup, you are full with your own opinions and conclusions and speculation. How can I show you Zen unless you empty your cup first?" And if we want to take it even further, the ultimate step in this process is that the full submissiveness brings is that the Guru will say, drop it, drop the ego. And naturally it will happen. The realization that this, what I call reality, was never real. It is not real. I'm not real. Not only that I'm not real, I don't really exist. This egoic phenomenon that I identified myself with, the past, the future, ambitions, likes and dislikes, this name and form, and so on and so on, this doesn't really exist. I do not really exist, but I am existence itself. And as the Zen master said, if I want to show you Zen, show you, he didn't say teach you, he said show you. We are talking about an experience, not about accumulation of knowledge. We are talking about a state of being, not how much I can remember. So after Prabhuji replied to the question with question your answers, he's being asked about his reply and about the process from a different angle. And we will listen now to the question and to the start of Prabhuji's answers.
You said that the experience can come to someone that his tool is not ready. And I was like surprised and I asked him, can it really? He said, yeah, even to an 8-year-old. So those years until the experience came back again, there was some preparation of the tool in order to be able to not to go out of it when it comes again, let's say, like that. Like the importance of the preparation of the tool and which direction to take.
Yeah, but what you call preparation is more like a waiting only. Waiting, nothing else. And what you call preparation is your way to wait, how you wait. You can wait in a very intelligent way, you can wait in a stupid way. So it's more, Yoga Vidya is more the art of waiting properly.
So, as we heard from Prabhuji, he's giving us another tip, and that is the way to wait. And I really love this talk because it is one of those moments and talks with Prabhuji that he gives us so many practical tips about the search, the path, things that if we understand them correctly can be of great help to us in our own path. And Prabhuji is talking about the waiting or the way to wait. And he says there that there is a smart way to wait and a stupid way to wait. And don't be confused. Waiting has a lot to do with submissiveness, and we will touch in it or about it in a few moments. But for now, what Prabhuji is mentioning here is Yoga Vidya. And he's saying to us that Yoga Vidya is the art of waiting properly. So what is Yoga Vidya? Yoga Vidya is a part of Advaita Vedanta, or which is one of the 6 orthodox school of thoughts within the Sanatana Dharma, or the eternal religion, or as is known or referred to in the West as Hinduism. And within Advaita Vedanta, there is 2 divisions of subjects, Brahma Vidya and Yoga Vidya. And as Prabhuji explained in his book about Advaita Vedanta, or the book Advaita Vedanta, basically, Brahma Vidya is the knowledge that comes from the scriptures, like the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishad, and so forth. The meaning of the word Brahman is self, and Vidya is knowledge. Knowledge of the self. And Yoga Vidya is the aspect that supports Brahma Vidya through different practices. If Brahma Vidya is about the knowledge, the Yoga Vidya is about the practice. And Prabhuji writes in his book Advaita Vedanta about Yoga Vidya. While it is true that Brahma Vidya is the essence of Vedanta, comprehending it would be impossible without the support of Yoga Vidya. This topic is discussed extensively in the scriptures, and it is essential to understand it clearly. Yoga is a way to prepare ourselves to digest Vedantic truth. It involves developing certain attitudes, behavior, and the right view of the fruit of our action and of everything that happens to us in life. Yoga Vidya is a preparatory and purifying lifestyle that supports our evolution and development on the path of knowing Brahman. Nevertheless, it is not a technique or a practice disconnected from the Vedic revelation and perspective. So, as we heard, both are very important and very much connected to one another. And that's what Prabhuji was saying to us in the lecture, that in his path, all that he did was the preparation, the Yoga Vidya. That is the way to wait with open doors, to wait with no agenda. And he's mentioning in the lecture different examples from Hebrew consciousness, or what is usually referred to as Judaism, about the way to wait. And he's telling us a few very important points about the waiting.
We say, Sheyeh Keretzono, let be his will. Yes, when existence will need you enlightened, you will be enlightened. Not a moment before. And you need only to wait. What you can do, wait. But wait open, with your doors open, accessible. Put down your defenses. That is what you can work, but that is not something that will make enlightenment come before, because it's not something that comes, it's your recognition. At the moment you will be waiting, and an unconditional waiting, not waiting that this happens sooner or later this week, or not with deadlines. Yoga Vidya is when you become waiting. All of you is waiting, and that is your life.
There is a lot of confusion when people get in contact with enlightened master or start their path. And here you need to drop the mind. It's not about knowledge, it's about experience. You only need to watch, and so forth. And because we come from this linear line we spoke about earlier of running after pleasure and escaping suffering, it sounds great, amazing. No need to study, no need to do any effort. Letting go never sounded better. But this is a very big mistake. The spiritual path is about to go beyond the mind, not under the mind. Prabhuji says there, it is a smart way to wait, and there's a stupid way to wait. The smart way to wait is to study, to stretch the mind to the maximum, to such an extent that eventually we go beyond it. And then there is the practice side that that Prabhuji mentioned of, and we read about in the book of Prabhuji, of the Yoga Vidya, of actually preparing ourselves to be able to receive those Vedantic truths. And then Prabhuji is giving us another great tip. No agenda. Waiting with no agenda. And if you remember, I said that waiting has a lot to do with submissiveness. The actual waiting with no agenda, as we heard a moment ago from Prabhuji, no timetable, without our own ideas of when it will come, how it will come, how the experience should look, how I will look when that experience will come. And we need to let go of all of that and much more. And this is the real submissiveness. Just waiting, or as Prabhuji said in the lecture, to become an unconditional waiting. And then Prabhuji is giving us another important tip.
then nothing will happen. It's not that something will come. But when you touch that point, what will happen is a recognition. You will pay attention. What you're waiting for was already there.
And I would like to say after this that I really recommend to listen to the full lecture, because Prabhuji is mentioning a lot of things that can be great instructions for spiritual seekers. And he talks about different things related to the waiting. I only brought up some aspects of the talk, but there is a lot more to receive from it. And to close the lecture, I will end up with a story in regards to the way to wait. Narada Muni was walking down the path, and on one side of the road he sees a yogi sitting in meditation, deep in his practice. And on the other side of the road he sees a drunken man sitting under a tree. The yogi comes to Narada Muni prostrate and said, "Dear sir, please tell me how many more lives before I will become enlightened." And Narada Muni said to him, "You have 3 more lives before you will become enlightened." And the yogi becomes upset and yells and shouts and stomps his feet and says, "What? After all this time, after all these austerities and lifetime of practice, still I have 3 more lives?" And storms off. The beggar, the drunken man, come to Narada Muni, prostrate in front of him and said, "Dear sir, and how many more lives do I have before I become enlightened?" Narada Muni smiles and said, "You see the amount of leaves on that tree?" And there were thousands of leaves on the tree. He says, "That's how many lives you still have before you will become enlightened." And the drunken man jumps from joy and hugs Narada Muni and says, "Yes, even me, I still have a chance and I will be enlightened one day." And he became enlightened on the spot. Thank you, and Jai Prabhuji.